so you can feel safe going through the grass now. So that part is over and accomplished, okay? With it by your side, you should be able to reach to the next town, okay? So this scene will go through, and it'll have that part, and it'll have the instance of me picking Charmander, and they'll ask which would I nickname it. Of course, that's what his nickname will be, and that's how I'll name him. Hopefully, they will actually do the actualization of the nicknaming of when I call them, okay? It's going to drive them insane. They better make a record of all the names and nicknames to know in the database of what they are, because I'd rather them be their nicknames for me as a trainer when I send them out than them being their normal names, okay? So here it is, and I'm going to save it right now, and we're going to see after the save what and about information about our Charmander. It's alright, don't stress too harsh. So, in your sense, as you finally get to see, we got a new sectional in the start button menu, and it's the Pokemon section. It's above bag, and this is where you click on to find information about your Pokemon. And our Pokemon is Blast, okay? Now, that's what his name is. So, we're going to get to the detailed information we know about Blast, but before this sectional, this is what happens. So I get Blast, and Taz is done picking Squirtle, and then I'm like, alright, I'm leaving, going to go on my adventure. I'll talk to you again, Professor. All that, and I'm about to leave out the building, and this happens. So he says, wait, let's check out our new Pokemon. The professor says this is a great idea. Let's go downstairs to the battle floor. And as soon as we do get down there, of course, the professors are still moving around, cleaning up the lab and all that in the background while we're grabbing Pokemon and all that. In that instance, we walk down, and there's a professor assistant that's walking. As soon as we get down the bottom of the steps to first step on the battle floor, there's an assistant that grabs a piece of paper on the ground, and he looks at us, and he's like, ah, like he looks at us, he takes a long pause, the professor's like, and then he's like, oh yeah, right, and he just runs off, and he continues to go for research. So it makes more of a funny and hilarious, interesting, more scene to add in the concept of the movie also. So we end up getting to our set stage points and set battlefields, and this ends up happening. Of course, we both step on each side of the field, like he is standing over there, kind of from the distance point. That's how it'd be. If the bookcase wasn't there, it'd be kind of on that side of the set. You know how it'd be. And then this would end up happening. He said, "Come on, I'll take you on." And then the battle would continue and begin. As you see, he kind of looks like Gary, but he's not. Just like how Red looks like Ash, but he's not. So he sends out Squirtle. Of course, I send out Blast. Now it shows the concept, of course. It starts getting energetic in the beginning of the battle. It shows them both showing their egos. We're going to find out what their egos are. It depends on how my Charmander's ego is. Taz's Squirtle has the same ego, so they're both evenly matched. So whatever my Charmander's is, his Squirtle is automatically, right? Now the developers, if they can find out and they can do inside research and find out what their real natures are, they can do that too. I can't control that. That's way more out of my league. Okay, so if they can do that, that'd be kind of cool. But one of the main things that would help, that I would appreciate from the developers, if they can actually have the Pokemon act like their natures and as their personalities, it would be extremely important and valued, okay? Including with their nicknames. So of course, as soon as I have it, I have Charmander out, and then, I say, go Charmander, well, go Blast, go Blast. And of course, me saying, go Blast, Professor says, oh, for Pete's sake, so pushy as always, Stefan. Never had a Pokemon battle before, have you? Of course. A Pokemon battle is when trainers have hit their Pokemon against each other. So it shows back and forth the scene of Charmander and Squirtle finally first meeting and all that. Now, of course, with it being Charmander and Squirtle, it's huge. Most people love to see them two fight because there's a strong drive between Charizard and Blastoise when they face each other. So, of course, they would show that. Of course, it would show the seriousness and the electricity between the rivalry, kind of. So while the professor's talking, it's going to show that screen and everything. Now, in this same sense, if it was kind of cool, they would have some of the scene, some of the assistants in the background moving around, doing research, moving around, doing stuff in the lab normally, and also, because they'll be on a lower level, of course, the battle scene's a little bit lower than the upper deck level where you enter, where the elevator and where the staircase that leads downstairs to the research room, like I said and explained all that earlier. It'd be kind of cool if they showed some of them also watching the battle also, and the professor is saying, take some down, take this research down. This is important. The professor says take this research down, and some of them are like sitting there taking notes, and a few of them are trying to, research it. This battle at the. So of course he says to us both, he says the trainer makes the other Pokemon faint by lowering the HP. Well, it can be one of the assistants that says this part if you want to. That part, yeah. So then the professor would say, then rather than talking about it, let's see you guys learn more from experience. Try battling and seeing for yourselves. Okay? Then it will get to the scene and cut into, okay? Now, before it even gets into the battle scene, it will come back to a split-second zoning, okay? And that's when it will just isolate, everything will turn dark, and it will X out Squirtle and everybody, including us and the professor, and it'll go to this Pokemon section, and it'll say, the professor will be like, mind talking to me, and it'll be like, it's important to get to know your Pokemon thoroughly, and then it'll just center and focus and revolve around Blast. It says, this is a list of your Pokemon, Stefan. Okay? And it says, open this to check the skills and moves of your Pokemon. Now, it'll show it in a sneak peek preview, which won't really say anything right now, but I'll explain later. It shows the professor actually holding a Pokédex, but he doesn't explain that it is the Pokédex, but he's holding it, and he's standing there scanning Blast and Squirtle. So it says, as it now is shown, he's relaxed. So it's showing that Blast in them, so he secretly tells us, he's like, it's very interesting, your Charmander Blast is relaxed, so you see that you're gonna have some fun with him. Now, of course, it shows the stats, and this is where your stats are, but I'm going to be able to show you this now because this is me explaining the game, but this concept won't come into effect until I get the Pokédex. So all these stats right now won't really fully count, but I'm keeping this and showing this for developers so they can have it on record, and they can actually, they really want to go into inner depth and actually jot down and research about the development of how each Pokemon grew. So now we are into the set of the battle, and it will continue and begin. So he's like, your Charmander goes scratch and growl. So try to teach him and tell him to try it. Okay? So I tell him to say, Blast, growl. He does growl, and of course, in that instance, it kind of scares Squirtle a bit, but of course their nature is relaxed, both of them, so they're not really feated about their attack being lowered, okay? Which would be cool for the nature. If, when they're a relaxed Pokemon or they have a certain trait, their status doesn't low as much. If they can actually do development of that, like higher level, like inner depth, it'd be kind of cool. So he says lowering the foe status will put you at advantage when it happens. Okay. He does tail whip back, which gets interesting. So, of course, in that instance, when he does it, of course, it catches Blast off guard, but he's still relaxed. And if it would be cool if it actually does the move tail whip and really whips him with the tail, which, like, if a Pokemon does tail whip, it actually hits the Pokemon with the tail. Okay. Now, in that sense, it'd be kind of also cool if it would do a little bit of recall damage, like how spikes would do, or something, or poison would do, because it actually is whipping with a tail, and also demoralizes and lowers the defense stat of the Pokemon, making them feel defenseless. But in this instance, I tell Blast to attack with Scratch. Of course, he does pretty good. He hits hard. How they do the battle scene would be cool. And the in-depth of the move and how they hits and lands. But of course, it lands. With it being Taz's Squirtle when he's relaxed, he's taking the damage really hard. Even if Blast hits him hard, he took the damage pretty well. Now, how it really will sync up that I wanted to explain is this is how it'll all sink in. I'll explain that after this words of the professor. But inflicting damage is the key to the battle, of course. Once they lower enough of their HP and it's gone, they're down, they faint, they pass out, and then they wake back up. But when they wake up, they can't battle again unless they're healed. So that's mainly it. Or revived. I'll tell him to scratch again. Now, how the cool in-depth will be when you have your own Pokemon, this is how your Pokemon will battle and how your Pokemon will grow. It's your personal Pokemon, and the damage that it will do is what the damage it will do against the Pokemon that are actually in the game that they face. So every Pokemon is different from every trainer. Some people raise theirs better. There are going to be trainers that in eternity raised their Pokemon better that will do situations and overcome them better than I have. But this is how it's going to be, and this is how I'm going to have it. Okay? So I tell him to growl. Of course, we're lucky Blast is in full health. And finally, he has Squirtle attack. Blast does well in taking that. Of course, he did well taking that hit. Now, he's really hitting him, but the willpower of the Pokemon is how they take the damage. Like, the damage is really intersynced. So, when they do that and they take that damage like that and it does so little, that's the will of the Pokemon actually holding on or being used to getting hit with that attack. So, of course, his attack's lowered because I did growl, so Blast is doing well taking his tackles. But this is his first concept of actually taking damage. He's actually taking physical damage, and it's from tackles. So I just told him to scratch again, so it would be kind of a cool process. If you want to, it can be multiple in a row attacks, you know. It can be a process of him just scratching, you know. Squirtle hits him with a tackle again, he like dodges real quick and then he scratches back again, and then, you know what I mean? Instead of it just being pauses and quick, they're facing off and still standing there. It can be that too in multiple scenarios, it's how they develop it, or it can be just multiple pause breaks and development slow scenarios. But of course, we won that and we get the experience. And of course, Blast ends up growing his level. The professor ends up letting me know that congratulations, Blast has gained enough experience for another level. Now, he's like, you'll be able to find out the information personally about Blast, but I'm on the brink of finishing the copy